Good afternoon, hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to The Pulse. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air. You can also catch us and watch us live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV is channel 144. We are Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. This afternoon on The Pulse, Ghana's longest-serving chairperson of the Electoral Commission warns of dire consequences if the Ghana card is used as a sole evidence of identification for the continuous registration exercise. We'll tell you about Dr. Farijan's fears that millions of eligible Ghanaians could be disenfranchised in the 2024 elections. Meanwhile, the EC says the Ghana card will help eliminate minors on the electoral roll. We'll bring you all of that and reactions to this. Also, President Akufo-Addo is this afternoon giving reassurances that he will resist any attempt by the International Monetary Fund to review the senior high school policy and other social interventions by government.
Very confident that these programs, especially the free SHS and free TVET program, will emerge from the program with the fund intact.
There's more from the president on his tour up north. And Tanker Drivers Union reverses decision to withdraw services across the country as drivers struggle to fuel their vehicles owing to petrol shortage and many of the fuel outlets in the capital.
The past 3 days now, I've been here trying to buy fuel. Normally what I do is early in the morning, I fill my tank before starting work. But for the past 3 days, I've been here coming in the morning, in the evening. I don't get some to buy.
These and more coming your way here on The Pulse. I am Blessed Sogah. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu, affordable, safe sanitation. Remember, we're also streaming live on YouTube and all of our social media handles. It's at JoyNews on TV. Thanks for choosing us. Ghana's longest-serving chairperson of the Electoral Commission is warning of dire consequences if the Ghana card is used as sole evidence of identification for the continuous registration exercise. The Electoral Commission, through a proposed Public Elections Regulations CI 2021, is making it mandatory for prospective voters who applies for registration as a voter to provide as evidence of identification the national identification card issued by the National Identification Authority. Well, that proposal is before Parliament, and here are excerpts of that proposal to you. First of all, indicating the requirements that are necessary for the registration exercise, which the Electoral Commission has laid before Parliament, making some claims and talking about the need for registrants to apply using the Ghana card. It's contained in the constitutional instrument which the Electoral Commission has put before Parliament. We'll bring that to you shortly and tell you about the proposals being made by the EC. So here you have it. First of all, talking about the session relating to registration of voters and the qualification for that continuous registration exercise. Well, we do know that portions of the proposal being made by the Electoral Commission is that a person, is entitled to have the name of that person included in the register of voters of an electoral area. If that person is, first of all, a citizen of Ghana, 18 years of age and above, also of sound mind, then we know that you need to be a resident, ordinarily a resident in any of the electoral areas that you're registering at, and you must not be prohibited by any law enforced from registering as a voter. These are the conditions set out in the law, but if you go to Section 2 of that requirements, particularly pointing out to portions relating to registration of voters qualified for registration. The EC is also proposing that for the purpose of paragraph D, which we talked about earlier, a person who's confined in a penal institution located in an electoral area is actually a resident, must make sure that he's a resident in that area. And then a person who now wants to register or who wants to apply for registration as a voter shall provide as evidence of identification the national identification card, which is the Ghana card many of you refer to as, and that must be issued by the National Identification Authority. Point 3 is what we're really keeping up with, because there's a lot of reaction greeting that decision by the Electoral Commission to stick to the Ghana card as proof of evidence of identification for the registration exercise. Well, we caught up with Deputy Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Bosman Asari, days ago, who told us precisely what the problem of the Ghana card, what problem the Ghana card will solve in terms of the continuous registration exercise. He's also been touching on the decision of the Electoral Commission to roll out a continuous registration exercise.
For the sake of our audience, let me put it very bluntly that this is not true. The EC has never said anywhere that we will be compiling a new register and that we are going to require additional $80 million from Parliament to be able to do that. However, what the EC has been saying is that since the 2020 mass registration exercise, the EC has said we don't foresee us compiling a new voters register again. We don't foresee doing that again for many, many years to come. And that the EC recently has made it very clear that we are going to conduct what we call the continuous registration of voters. And what that continuous registration of voters actually implies is that now we have the register, we have over 17 million people who are registered, almost 17 million, 27,000 Ghanaians on our roll. Those numbers are intact, all their details are intact, and their information, biometric, all the information, the facial features, everything is intact. So what the Commission is going to do, hopefully by the end of this year, is to roll out the continuous. And the continuous basically means those who did not get the chance to register in 2020, although they had turned the age of 18, but they didn't get the chance, or they were not even in the country at the time of the registration. And for those who turned 18 after the registration exercise, I think the registration exercise ended somewhere in August, although we did some limited exercises after that. It ended that time. All those who turned 18, so let's say you turned 18 in September last year, November in 2020, right. September in 2020, and all those who turned 18 last year, and currently those who have turned 18 in this year, and those who are, as we are speaking now.
Right. So once you turn 18, you can go ahead.
And what we are basically saying is that people should just go and get their Ghana card. And that's the document we've sent to Parliament.
We'll talk about the issue about the Ghana card shortly, but on the claims that you're asking for fresh funding to compile a new register, even if you're not asking for the funds, you do agree that the continuous registration exercise will demand some resources?
No, it will not demand. The continuous registration exercise takes place at our district offices.
But that would certainly come at
No,
some cost,
it doesn't demand any cost, because we have the equipment already. The equipment for registration are there, and we have our officers on the ground. So it's part of our daily administrative work. So when you go to our district office now, let's look at Ayawaso West, Ayawaso, the constituency where Legon. Right. When you go there now, we have a municipal officer, a deputy municipal officer. We have a secretary. And these three people are there to do that when we start. So
you're not recruiting additional personnel?
No, we are not recruiting additional personnel.
What did you lay in Parliament, and how is it the case that such a very well-organized groups of MPs would say, well, they are getting a sense that you're asking for more money to compile in your register?
You know, the Parliament has a committee called the Special Budget Committee. Right. And the Special Budget Committee, I see that committee as perhaps the single most important. All the committees are very important, but when it comes to financial issues, they handle that. And the EC is accountable to the Parliament of Ghana, but we do it directly through the Special Budget Committee. Usually when we will undertake such a major exercise, you go to them to explain to them that, oh, next year in 2023, this is what we are going to do. So we will require this amount of money. And they may end up pushing the Ministry of Finance to ensure that those funds are released. And last year we didn't do that. We didn't go to them that we'll be compiling a new voters register, which will require additional amount of money. So for the continuous, as I said, we have our staff in the office. It will not require. If even it will require, it means where we don't have the full complement. But as I speak now,
is that why you're asking for the 80 million, or there's no amount? There's no amount you're asking.
There's no amount we are asking.
Budget
about 80 million in Ghana cedis now will be about 400 and almost 500 million. And our budget for this year is not even up to 20% of that. So clearly there is no truth to that.
But what setting is that you'd definitely go ahead with a continuous registration exercise? So what's going to be the requirement and what are the timelines that you're dealing with?
Currently, we've sent the document, the CI, on the registration of voters to Parliament. And what the Commission, based on interactions with our political parties, as well as civil society. You know, IPAC is made up of the EC and political parties, but we have civil society organizations that have observer status. We had plenty discussions with them, and last year too, we had a meeting in one of the hotels with the political parties, civil society, for 2 days, and it was agreed that now that the Ghana card has made a lot of impact in our society. As we speak now, almost 17 million of our people, of Ghanaians, have registered for the Ghana card. So the Commission, in collaboration with our partners, took the decision that now let's have the Ghana card as the main requirement. So what this means is that as soon as you acquire your Ghana card with the continuous registration, you just go to our district office, the district where you are located. So let's say you reside in, let's say, Tema, right. Tema Central. As soon as you acquire your Ghana card, then you go to our office in Tema Central, then you go and register, then your name will be put on the roll of voters. Basically, that's what we are doing. And you know, the Ghana card is acquired at the age of 15 based on the information they put out there. Yeah. So what we are saying is that we should encourage people, go ahead and get your Ghana card. As soon as you turn 18, then you present it to the registration officer, and instantly you are going to be registered.
That's the position of the Electoral Commission. Well, a former chairperson of that commission, Dr. Afari-Jan, is advising his outfit against using the National Identification Card, known as the Ghana card, as the sole requirement for voting in the 2024 elections. Let me just bring you some of the concerns. This is exclusive to the Daily Graphic, which we are getting excerpts of that quote from, in terms of his concerns. So let's start off with the issue of the Ghana card. Dr. Afari-Jan is pointing out, first of all, that Ghanaian citizens don't lose their citizenship if they are 18 years or older but do not have the Ghana card. So it goes without saying that why is the Ghana card the only means of identification for the purposes of establishing eligibility to register to vote? That's his first concern with the Electoral Commission. Then he's raising another point, which we'll show to you shortly, pointing to the issue of the points for registration, doing the continuous registration exercise. From what we're getting from the Deputy Commissioner, it's clear that the district offices will become a launch pad where that continuous registration exercise may take place. Afari-Jan is pointing out at this point that that may be problematic because of the issue of access. So in his view, one way to dodge the problem is to use the voters' registration. And this is not the polling specific approach when we decide to go with the district offices for the continuous registration exercise. So you may have a lot of people who are far away who may not have access to these centers. There's the issue about the creation of the constituency voters roll and the polling station voter roll, which is contained in part of the reforms and proposals that's coming through from the Electoral Commission. Dr. Afari-Jan is also raising the concern about a possible issue of multiple voting when it comes to that approach, because for him, quote, until such a time that the BVDs, and that's the biometric verification devices, are configured to be interactive in this way, that problem will be solved. Because my concern about any of the two registers being used at the polling station on election day is that it opens the door more widely to the two kinds of voting infractions, namely multiple voting and ballot stuffing, because according to him, the machines are not able to tell if you've already participated in the exercise. And therefore, when you come claiming that you are on the other roll, you may get another chance to participate in the exercise. It's part of the concerns that Dr. Afari-Jan is raising. So let's break down all of this to you and get some reactions to this. Fortunate to be having lawyer Abraham Amaliba, lead or head of the NDC's legal team, joining us via Zoom. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Pulse. But just before we come to you, let's deal briefly with the figures. Isaac Kofi is with our research desk. He's been looking at the projections in terms of the Ghana card and how many people will turn 18 by 2024. So Kofi, take us away. First of all, on the issue of the Ghana card. How many people are we estimating will turn 18 by 2023, 2024 as we're heading for the next general elections?
Right, Blessed. So the 2021 population and housing census, obviously, we cannot have the entire 30.8 million Ghanaians going to the polls 2024. And so the most important thing is those who are 18 years and above. But currently, we have a population that has 19.9 million, Ghanaians being 15 and above. This simply means that for you to turn 18 years by 2024, you need to be at least 15 by 2021. And so we did the math. There are over, a little over 2 million Ghanaians who are currently 15 years or will be, 18 years by 2024. And so we have a population 19.9 million who are 15 years and above. Let's link this to the Ghana card. We know a little over 16.9 million people have been able to register for the Ghana card, but to the number of people who have their cards or the number of cards issued is around 15.7 million. This means that this leaves close to 4.2 million Ghanaians who currently do not have a valid Ghana card at the moment.
That's a striking figure. So let's try and get the balance here. Is the NIA assuring, and from the projections that we've seen, are we setting that the NIA will be able to meet that target of registering some 4.2 million more people before 2024, looking at the trend?
Well, Blessed, we know the Ghana card has been actually linked with the SIM card re-registration, and the NIA, they have given us their word that by end September, they'll be able to register some 2 million Ghanaians onto the Ghana card. So this simply means that by September this year, we would have 2 million addition to the Ghana card. And if that we add that to the 16.9 total number of Ghana cards registered, that will bring us to some 18.9 million people, where we will still be left with about a little over 1 million people who will still not have their Ghana cards. But we are hoping that by 2024, we have all other age groups on the Ghana card, 15 years and
so worst case scenario, if that does not happen, the EC is doomed.
Exactly.
Right, 4.2 million
because
potential.
You cannot disenfranchise some people.
Interesting.
4.2 million, all of them must be on the Ghana card by 2020.
Well, Isaac Kofi J there with our research desk. Let me bring in lawyer Abraham Maliba at this point. So you've been watching the figures as well, and also the proposed CI before Parliament. What's your initial reaction to what we're learning from the likes of Dr. Farijan on this, saying that, well, a potential 2, 3, 4 million Ghanaians may be disenfranchised?
Well, so let me start by saying good evening to your viewers. All over the world, election management bodies have the responsibility to ensure that a good number of their citizens, majority of them, are on the election register to ensure that they are not disenfranchised. The decision by the EC to solely use the Ghana card, knowing very well that the Ghana card is not available now to every Ghanaian, and we are not sure that by 2024 it will be available to every Ghanaian, is for me an affront to the Constitution. Article 42 is clear on the eligibility of persons who would want to register and vote. It says that 1, you must be a Ghanaian, 2, you must be of sound mind, and 3, you must be 18 or above. So, basic, first and foremost, you are a Ghanaian before acquiring the card. It is not the card that makes you a Ghanaian. And so if you are a Ghanaian and you are desirous to have your name on the register to vote, the Ghana card should not be used to disenfranchise you. The reason I'm making this point is that the Ghana card is not available for every Ghanaian. So is there a way that we can resort to other cards to ensure that Ghanaians who are desirous to have their name on the register can go ahead to register and vote? But to use solely the Ghana card, for me, is an attempt to, as it were, disenfranchise people by using the Ghana card as a sole document. And I think that will fly in the face of Article 42.
That would be very
of the
presumptive,
Constitution.
because the Electoral Commission has been giving us explanations as to why they're deciding to go with that system. The issue has come up, and you have also been concerned as the NDC about the integrity of the electoral roll, the fact that the guarantor system has some defects. You agree?
Yes, and I'm not saying that we should use the guarantor system. I've indicated to you right now that can we use other forms of identification? Why? Don't we have a driver's license? Is it not also biometric? Don't we have the passport? Is that not biometric? So by just using the Ghana card, when indeed just last week we had a head where they are talking about cutting off the people who cannot use Ghana cards to register their SIM. By September, they are not sure that they will be able to provide Ghana card for all Ghanaians to be able to register their SIMs. If we use that as a basis to determine whether the EC will be, whether the NIA will be able to provide Ghana cards, I'm sure we'll come to the conclusion that that is going to be difficult. So I'm saying that, can we resort to other forms of identification which will augment the Ghana card? That's my point.
But then for the NDC, what are the alternatives for you aside the Ghana card?
Clearly, we have the voter, the driver's license, which is available. We could also use the passport, which is available to most Ghanaians. And so, if we put together all these takers, then chances are that you have a good number of Ghanaian cards. When we know the challenges associated with procuring the Ghana card, that for me is a recipe for saying that you don't want some Ghanaians to get onto the register because the Ghana card is not available to everyone, and you are aware of this. So to eliminate, we can make.
Yeah, but just recently, the General Secretary was with us here in studio, pointing out to the fact that eventually that's where you agree you ought head to. And we've heard that from Dr. Basman Asari also indicating that together there was a meeting that was held, the political parties were present, and you have somehow agreed in principle that eventually the Ghana card is what you would rely on in terms of identifying persons who are eligible.
False. That is false. The NDC has never agreed to that. The NDC has never agreed to that. Don't forget, the NDC has boycotted IPAC. I don't know which meeting Dr. Bosman is talking about. The NDC was not part of it.
We seem to be having some challenges, so we'll try as much as possible to raise Dr. Maliba on phone so we get some clarity to the matters he's pointing out clearly. But once more, for those of you who are just wondering what it is that Dr. Afarijan has been pointing out to, he has been pointing out some concerns about the exercise, raising a number of issues. We could just bring some more of the concerns he's been raising to you, starting off with this issue about the use of the Ghana card. But let me bring in lawyer Maliba, who's joining us via phone now. So I hope we have a stable connection. You were pointing out that in principle you did not agree with the EC that the Ghana card be used eventually as that source of identification.
Yes, there was no such meeting where NDC attended. You are aware that the NDC has boycotted IPAC for a long time now. And so for Dr. Bosman to make that categorical statement that the NDC agreed to such a meeting, I want him to produce minutes of such meetings.
Yeah, he didn't mention the NDC, but he says, I mean, there was a meeting between you and the political party. So probably if you boycott that meeting, that's to your own peril, isn't it, as a political party?
Well, so he should make it categorically clear that the NDC did not attend. But that does not take away the fact that we are still a stakeholder in the electoral process. And for him to then throw out the news out there that we were part of it. It's not true.
So what instructions are you giving, for instance, to your MPs in Parliament about this CI that has been laid before the House? What action are they to take on this?
Well, the MPs would liaise with the party. The party would want to actually find out from the EC, and for that matter, by extension, the NIA, to provide us with the number of people who have registered in various parts of this country. We want to know the number of people, for instance, who have registered, gotten their names onto the NIA register in the Ashanti region, in all the regions, so that we will know how many people have the Ghana card. From there, we will be able to determine whether or not the Ghana card can be used as a sole document for registration.
You have been criticized as being part of the problem, the fact that the NDC encouraged some of your followers not to even register for the NIA cards in the first place. So you agree you're part of the problem we're facing now?
How is that? When you go to the Ashanti region, there are a huge number of people who have been complaining that they did the registration for the past 3 years, but they have not procured their card. Are you going to say that it's the NDC that asked them not to register in the Ashanti region, in the stronghold of the MPP? So even in the stronghold of the MPP, the citizens there are also complaining that the process has been so slow that it's difficult after registering to even procure your card, apart from the long queues that we see. And so to say that it's the NDC that has caused this, I think it's below the belt, because the NDC has no influence, for instance, over the electorates in the Ashanti region. It's solely an MPP stronghold. So how come that even in the Ashanti region we have complaints, if that were the case?
Yes, but you are also being warned by some experts that if you do not take immediate steps to deal with this, you could have that affecting your electoral fortunes in 2024, because with or without the NDC, I guess the constitutional instrument will be applied.
Well, that is to say that if Parliament decides to pass the CI, we have our members in Parliament. They will raise the issues in Parliament. You know, the EC has, time with our number, withdrawn CIs and have gone ahead to amend and do the right things. And so our members in Parliament would be up to their responsibility to ensure that the right things are done. We are not against the EC going ahead to ensure that it is able to compile a register. What we are saying is that you can compile this register without saying that it is solely the Ghana card. And so that's where we are. We are not against the compilation of a new register. And so it is for the EC to also listen to political parties. The days that the EC will say that what it says is final should be a thing of the past, and begin to listen to the political parties when they raise issues for them to pay attention to.
Dr. Farijan is also pointing out that as part of the proposals, there are some defects with the proposal to have two registers, the constituency role and then that of the electoral area. How much of a challenge will it be to you also as a political party? He's saying there could be implications, for instance, we could have multiple voting going on.
I didn't get that. Is he saying that there's going to be two?
Yes, the decision to split the electoral roll further into two. So you have the constituency electoral roll and that of the electoral area.
Constituency and electoral area register. Is that what they are going to do?
Yeah, precisely the proposal, yes.
I find it difficult to understand why they will want to do that, because we vote in accordance with constituencies. I don't think we vote in accordance with electoral areas. And that is why when you are voting, you vote for a member of parliament who is responsible for a constituency and not a member of parliament who is responsible for an electoral area. If it's not broken, why do you try to fix it? The current system we have, where we have register for constituencies is what we have all known. But so I would want to find out from the EC why you now want to create a register for an electoral area. That doesn't sound like a reasonable thing to do at all.
So if the Ghana card would not solve the problem, and you seem to also be having some challenges with even the registration process, what then will deal effectively with the credibility concerns you usually have as political parties whenever we're compiling a new voters register?
Look, I heard Bosman talk about continuous registration. Yes, NDC is out for a continuous registration. We have agreed to that. This was something that the NDC agreed to even during the days of Afarijan, and we had cause to even complain why that has not been implemented. And if now the EC wants to implement that, we are all out for that. The days that you have people queuing and going to sleep over at registration centers must be a thing of the past. So we agree to that. But we are saying that the documents that you need, or the identification document that you need to authenticate a person's citizen, shouldn't just be the Ghana card. And you are aware, and I'm also aware, that the Ghana card is not simply available to all. Look, when the FPP were having their election, I heard Dr. Koku indicate that if you were approaching the center to vote, or you were going to the polling booth to vote, you must produce an identity card that will authenticate that you are the one. And he said that any national identity card. That was at the MPP National Executive Congress.
Yes, but I guess it's because the laws have not taken effect yet. Could that not be the reason why?
So if the EC itself did not insist that it should be Ghana card at that conference and indicated that it should be any national identity card, why are we now trying to stifle the situation and make only those who have the Ghana card, when we know that majority of Ghanaians still don't have the Ghana card? Your colleague just did a tabulation and realized that about 4.2 million don't have the Ghana card now. And by September, if another 2 million are put onto the register, we still have some 2 million still left. Why should a whopping 2 million of our citizens be left out when they are desirous to be part of the register and vote? So I am saying that election management bodies throughout the country, throughout the world, their always desire is to ensure that anybody who is eligible as a citizen is eligible to be on register and is desirous to be on register, that person is facilitated to have his name on the register. But in our case, we are increasingly seeing the EC itself trying to disenfranchise people by putting in place systems that would ensure that citizens are not on board. And that is where I have a problem with. The EC should rather be looking at inclusiveness, looking at expanding the frontiers so that more people can be on the register, rather than having a few people going to the polls to, as it were, elect people for all of it.
If this goes ahead and is adopted in Parliament, are we likely to see the NDC head to court over this? The point that the NIA will be that sole requirement. Are you considering that as the legal department of the NDC?
Look, in a serious democracy, no legal system will allow this to fly. Where even if it's one person who has been disenfranchised, no legal system will allow this to have its way. And when we get there, we shall cross the...
Yes, but I'm being specific with the point 3, which you're arguing that once you turn 18, it's not the NIA card or the Ghana card that will decide your citizenship. Will the NDC go to court over these concerns?
And I'm saying that this is a collective issue. I may be the head of the legal team, but it takes a collective issue by the entire legal team to advise the party.
All right, then.
But
I'm grateful.
my stand is that if that goes on, if the Ghana card is used, then it flies in the face of Article 42 of the Constitution.
Lawyer Abraham Amaliba, thank you for joining us here on The Pulse. The Tanker Drivers Union have reversed their decision to withdraw services across the country as drivers struggle to fuel their vehicles owing to petrol shortage at many of the fuel outlets in Accra. Now, for the drivers, the situation, if not checked, could be devastating for them. My colleague Michael Papania-Shale has been visiting some of the outlets.
What we are understanding is that there's fuel shortage at many of the OMCs and their outlets here. We are currently in Abekan La Paz. This GO station, we are told, has been out of petrol particularly for 2 days now, since Thursday, August. We'll try to speak to some of the drivers. Like this driver here, we are told that they've had to roam unsuccessfully trying to look for good quality oil, fuel. Please, what's your name?
My name is Bernard Ampiao.
Okay, Bernard. So, how long have you been trying to look for fuel?
For the past 3 days now, I've been here trying to buy fuel. Normally what I do is early in the morning, I fill my tank before starting work. But for the past 3 days, I've been here coming in the morning, in the evening. I don't get some to buy. I don't know the reason why. But I heard that maybe these tankers drivers have problem concerning their payments and those things. So I think, and even today I heard that they've called off the strike. But I'm still hoping that they bring us fuel because I normally buy oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, how disturbing is this for you?
Oh, really? It has really been unbearable because you know, if you don't get it here, then it means you have to drive through a whole lot of places before you can get a fuel. I only buy oil. That is it. Yeah.
But how many outlets have you been to?
Like 6. Yes.
And all of them tell you the same thing. They don't have petrol.
The same thing. They don't have petrol. Wow. They only have diesel.
So at this point, what do you want to be done? Because you need it to also do some work.
Yeah, so what I have to do is I have to look out for other fuel stations. The people that they have, they just purchase it from there.
Bernard, let me thank you very much. So Bernard is one of many who have been searching through town, hoping to get some fuel to buy, particularly petrol. But just now he's been turned away because this particular station, like many others, have told him that there's no fuel to buy. There's some more vehicles coming through, all have been told nearly the same response, that there's no fuel here, but there's no signboard displaying to tell drivers who are also in the same situation whether there's fuel or not. They would have to drive into the station and later try to find out whether they have fuel or not. It's a devastating moment for drivers, especially for online drivers and commercial drivers, taxis and trotros, who depend on this as an input for the work that they do. They can only hope that a solution to the concerns of the tanker drivers will be found as soon as possible. For JoyNews, Michael Ashale.
Well, a couple of hours ago, a statement has been released to that effect by the Labour Union, indicating that it will now resume services across the country after a series of meetings with stakeholders. And further engagements, as we understand, are expected in the coming days. So let's tell you more about the indications we're getting from the tanker drivers. We'll definitely bring that to you. But let's now speak to Peter Tekba, who's a policy analyst monitoring the developments there and also the statement we're receiving from the tanker drivers. So, Peter, for you, how long will it take for the situation to normalize? At least we are getting that indication from the fuel tanker drivers. Mr. Tekba, yes, I was asking about how long this will take for issues to normalize.
Well, it depends on the negotiation and who is agreeing to what and who is also not agreeing to what. It depends on how the negotiation goes. You know, these tanker drivers play a very critical role. And so for us to say when is this going to normalize, it actually depends on what they are asking for and what government position is on this as well. So that is very critical.
Initially, but we know that they were joining in that solidarity over the decision, the cabinet decision not to expand LPG stations across the country. And that's part of the demand. Now there's some level of consensus and they are resuming their services. But then the impact also on the prices and how soon we are expecting that these issues will normalize?
Well, indeed, it will not take one day for it to be normalized because it has to go through, some level of processes. And so, yes, there was a ban, but, it will take some time to mobilize. It will take some time to organize resources to be able to actually get the station running. The various stakeholders, like the authorities that regulate them, will have to go and inspect to find out whether everything is in order, because there was a reason why this ban took place. And so we have to make sure that once the ban is lifted, people don't just get up and just start, doing business, but rather they follow the safety protocols that needs to be done strictly to ensure that if there's been any occurrence, it does not result in that kind of fatality that we saw. And so it will have to take some process. And then it's good that these people are actually taking through a lot of training to understand the impact of their work on the populace and the public as well. And so it is not something that can just take one day to resolve. It will take a process. And that process, depending on how fast we are able to get things along, then definitely we should expect that more stations will be opened in the coming days.
And they're resuming their services at the time where, of course, we've also been paying attention to the exchange rate. It appears that the city is not performing as it should, as many citizens are expecting. So what's likely to be complicating that matter? Would it be the city depreciation, or perhaps just a simple issue of the natural market cycle?
Well, it's a mixture of both, but unfortunately, when one aspect seems to be getting better, then another thing also comes in. And if you look at it, the city depreciation is very critical. And unfortunately, when we expect that things will normalize for prices to go down, then the city has taken a trend that nobody actually tried to understand. And so we are hoping that government will actually step in. All these things requires what government strategy is. And I think that the silence of government is also not helping matters, because we expect that there should be some level of communication to actually tell the public what is being done to address the situation. But currently, as we speak, we've not had any information from the Ministry of Finance, for instance, to know what is being done. And I think when this information is put out there, it helps to get people to understand. This thing is about speculation. So when there is silence, everybody tends to speculate, everybody tends to do something, everybody tends to do their own, say everything. But when there's communication, then all communication is towards that communication from the authorities that
Right, and at this point, what will be your expectation from government? Just that you're pointing out that there are a raft of measures that needs to be deployed immediately.
Yes, so when it comes to city depreciation, we all know that, it depends on the reserves of the central bank. Or it also depends on what we are getting from, offshore players or inflows from the external parties. So what I expect government to do is to come out to tell us that in the coming days, what we should expect, such that this will normalize. So if nothing is being done, then what everybody will say is that it means there's no hope. It means we don't know what is coming, what is ahead. But if government should come up to say that, look, in the coming days, we expect this amount of money coming in, this is what we are putting in place, and that by this timeline, we should expect this coming in. Then all the speculators will now be geared towards that. Then they know that, look, if we don't quickly get our strategy reorganized, it will get to a time where whatever we are holding now, we can't get it. Because if somebody tells you that there's no dollar in the system, there is. But just because the government is not coming out to say anything, those who have it are just holding it because they are business women. And so that's why that information is very critical from the side of the government to help control that kind of speculation that is causing what we are experiencing now. And so information from government is very, very important. You remember that when Bank of Ghana came up with these measures that they said that ABC is going to be done, they are expecting some money, at least that alone caused some stability in the system. That is what we want now, that there should be some definite measures by government to be put out there. Then all discussion will be hovering around that place. At least it will help to minimize the rate at which the city is falling. Other than that, unfortunately, we should see further negotiation in the coming days if government continues to be silent on it.
I mean, anytime this happens, it's as though the OMCs don't feel the impact. Is that a correct notion to have?
Are you saying that the OMCs don't face the impact?
Well, normally it's as though, I mean, because of the essential nature of products that they produce, it's as though when they shut their outlets, weighing the comparative impact, it's as though the OMCs don't really get affected as much. Is that a correct notion to hold?
No, they do. Just that this business, their business is a cash business. So every day, money, majority of Ghanaians go to the pumps to buy fuel with cash. And so every day they are making money. And normally, when you don't sell in a particular day, of course, you are losing. Just that they know that because it's a commodity in high demand, when they shut down today, tomorrow, when they open, people will still rush and go and buy. And so, even though they feel the impact, because they know what they want to achieve, that is why it looks as if they are indifferent, but not at all. It is actual impact. Don't forget that they also buy this product at a cost. And so depending on how fast you sell, it determines how much you're also going to buy. Because if you go to the station and you have product in your tank, right, and you don't sell, when price goes up, when price goes down, you are affected. And now that we can see that world market price is coming down, gradually, if the cedi strengthens tomorrow and it drops, it means that you bought it at a higher cost. And so if you don't sell now and prices go down, you are going to. That is why it is good that when you are in this business, once you get the stock, you sell it quickly to be able to turn around. Then when it happens like that, then you are in good business. But of course, it's something that everyday people buy. And so 1 day, 2 days, will not happen.
They are always in business, I guess.
Always in business. Always in business. Because cash business is cash business. And so they will always laugh at the end of the day. Because what you have to understand, their margin is also critical. And in times like this, nobody can be making fat margin because everybody is sacrificing.
Let's talk about the outlook finally and what's looking like for consumers.
Well, when you talk of stock, I think that situations are normalized in terms of availability of the product. The only unfortunate thing is that the price. Some time ago, we were talking about government removing taxes. Now we have come to understand that even if government should remove all the taxes, that wouldn't have been the solution to the problem. Because the two key things, the world price and the exchange rate. Unfortunately, we have the world price coming down. Then the city has taken another train again. So the question is that at what point are we going to get this resolved? Then it means that government needs a deliberate policy to be able to manage our effect, because that is the key driver of what is happening. So even if rate comes down today, the prices at the pump will not come down the way we expected, because the city is taking a certain trend that now nobody can tell tomorrow you can wake up and the city can get another level. We started this, rate, ULS with the city about 3 cities with 20 pesos. Today we are above 9. The city crossed 9. The reality is that the city has crossed 9. And there needs to be a deliberate policy by government to manage effects. That is why government timely information into the market will help address the issue, rather than being silent and get to a certain level before we come. That is because when the dollar crosses certain threshold, it's difficult for it to come down. That is unfortunate. That's why government needs to be proactive in putting out information that will not allow us to cross certain threshold. Other than that, we will end up ending the year at double digits, which we don't expect that.
All right then. I'm grateful, Peter Tekpet. He's an energy policy analyst joining us here on The Pulse. The president has been up to a lot this week and today as well, because he's giving assurances that he will resist any attempts by the International Monetary Fund to review the free senior high school policy and other social intervention policies ahead of the second rounds of negotiations for a support program following government's application. There have been calls for a review to address the funding challenges with the free senior high school policy. President Akufo-Addo, who is starting a tour of the Upper East region, says the special intervention programs are non-negotiable. He's been speaking on GBC's URA radio in Bolga.
It's relatively easy for me to give this assurance. Okay. The free SHS, free TVET, these programs are at the heart of this government's work over these last 5 years. And we have made it clear to everybody that they are non-negotiable items of our public expenditure. So, and already, I think you heard the statement that the IMF country director made not too long ago, that they cannot see how such an important social intervention can be sacrificed on the altar of a program with them. So all our minds are going in the same direction, and I'm very, very confident that these programs, especially the free SHS and free TVET program, will emerge from the program with the fund intact. I think there's something that a lot of people are forgetting. When we came into office, we were under an IMF program.
Yes.
Yes, in 2017, we weren't. In fact, we did not exit the IMF program until April of 2019. So it's already been accommodated within the thinking of a fund program for Ghana. Oil prices, the budget that we made for 2022, was a budget that was based on an oil price, a crude oil price of $64. But most of this year, crude oil prices have gone up to over 100. And as we speak, it is still over 100. So you're talking about a 2/3 increase in the price of crude oil as a result of factors that are completely beyond our control. And we are a net importer of crude. Yes, we are an exporter. So you can imagine what that did to our balance of payments. It is these kind of items, these kind of expenditures that have brought the dislocation in our public finances that has led us to go and seek temporary relief from the fund. So the saying that we will never go back, I'm hoping that the measures that we're taking now to build the strength of our economies will make it more and more difficult for us to have that dependence or that need for reliance in the future.
Yes.
Nobody, especially the people in this area, will play with this terrorist menace. It is much better for us to invest such resources as we have in preventing the terrorist menace being implanted in the country than fighting it once it is here.
President Akufo-Addo speaking ahead of his tour there. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. We'll return shortly to bring you some more stories. You're welcome back. It was to be a parallel voice to the binary political rhetoric from the NPP and the NDC. A group of angry youth, actually backed by the power of the internet, began to mobilize the goal to pile pressure on government and other state actors to fix the country. Exactly a year since its highly talked about protest, my colleague Manol Kranting has been finding out what has become of the group Fix the Country.
August 2021. A movement that started only as a social media hashtag, Fix the Country, had metamorphosed into perhaps the biggest protest organized by a non-political group in Ghana. A movement of ordinary citizens was now demanding strict accountability of its government.
I think that's very important that we show that we reject the attitude of the government and we want to create a culture of dissent. It's important that we create a culture of dissent. We show our disapproval.
We are tired of the lies. Article 71 office holders are lies. It is bogus. It is a calculated attempt to steal us. We are tired of the mendacilloquence, the zabanism, and the political prostitute.
Their plan was to spread the protest across the country.
Today, August 4, is a rebirth of Ghana. And this in itself is a manifestation of that rebirth. But this is not the end. This is actually the beginning.
We are all hungry in this country, and we won't allow tribalism to divide us. From here, we are going to Kumasi, Tamale, Ho, and because we want all of us to participate in this demonstration.
But this was not to be. After exactly a year, a breakaway by the Economic Fighters League, the arrest and prosecution of Oliver Barker-Vormawor for alleged treasonable comments, and a general lack of activity have made the group a pale shadow of its former self.
It felt like there wasn't that pursuit of the message, which was fix the country. It was just about some people giving themselves some self-importance and self-aggrandizing sort of, status.
That's Chris Atadika.
Because
he once was a strong supporter of the group, but not anymore.
Or a selected group of people. Fix the country is something that lies in the heart of every young person in Ghana. So we use our roads, we see bad roads, we feel it inside that no, this thing needs to be fixed. At a point, you had some faction of the leaders coming out to put out a statement saying they are no more part of the movement. So I blame the leaders for it, because obviously, if they also blamed our leadership for the poor status of our country, right? If Fix the Country itself as a movement wasn't able to work, it means the leadership of Fix the Country also needs to be blamed.
And why did the EFL abandon the Fix the Country ship? I meet fighter Hardy Yakubu for some answers.
The main thing is that there were measures, actions, utterances, clearly, consistently. And this is not just once or twice, consistently. Trying very hard, to push the message in a way that clearly was in the benefit of the opposition. If we wanted to be in the opposition or to join the opposition, we would have joined it. If we wanted to join the government, we would have done so.
This is strongly rejected by Fix the Country. Felicity Nelson is one of the conveners.
That's completely false. This isn't something that I'm ever going to support. And if they made a lot of allegations when they had their press conference, and all of those allegations came with literally no proof. So if they're saying some persons if you tell me some persons are pushing in favor of a certain political party, who's that person? What political party is that? Be bold. If you're bold enough to make allegations, back them up and say this particular person, that particular person, on this particular day, this is what happened. Be specific. But when you start throwing general allegations around, like, I'm not gonna, I'm refuting it, but I don't even want to spend too much time on it.
So why does the group seem to have lost its luster?
If you look at even what's happening with Oliver, considering the fact that, he was in detention for about 30 days, and there was a lot of back and forth even regarding which court to take him to. Even when he was arrested, it took like nearly 26 hours before he was allowed to even have access to a lawyer. These are fundamental human rights which were being denied of him. So I definitely think that there's always this urge for government to use the police especially to kind of clamp down on us. I genuinely think that was one of those moments where the state's been waiting. We're just waiting for you to slip up and get you on something, just something. If the state genuinely had a case, why is it that most of the time when they get to the courtroom, the state prosecutor doesn't turn up, they're asking for more time? I think there's definitely people who would not be as active or as vocal because, the reality is that, as Martin Amidou said, when you fight corruption, corruption fights back. And the reality is that for a lot of people, from jobs to contracts to, certain opportunities, if you say the wrong thing about the government, even if you like the wrong post, these are things which can have opportunity. You can miss out on opportunities, lose out on job opportunities, lose out on scholarship opportunities. So yes, there are real life repercussions for speaking up against the government. And what's happening to Oliver is definitely going to make a lot of people feel like maybe I shouldn't be so vocal, maybe I need to take a step back.
Historian and scholar Kwame Dako Ankra agrees government might have been on the heels of the group.
By bringing out some of the issues of corruption, issues of, let's say, mismanagement, incompetence, and so on, can easily bring the government down or make the government unpopular. So the government and its supporters will also find ways and means to undermine this group so that whatever they say will not be what? Will not catch resonance with the people. That is the specific issues with regard to this group.
What then has become of the group's ideals?
If people are speaking up against the state, even if they hate Fix the Country, even if they hate me, if they hate Oliver, and they're speaking up against the state, look, what happened in Swami? They went on they did one day of him coming over and then showing him small Pepe. Small Pepe. So the reality is that don't ever think you're not your voice doesn't matter. You just need to be you need to organize and be. If you have a unit and all of you are saying the same thing, you can win. That's the thing. Fix the Country is not about us. It's about the people. So once the people are out there going on their protests, fighting for what they deserve, what is owed to them, is a win for me. It doesn't have to be under the guise or the banner of Fix the Country for it to be a win. It's never about personal glory, Fix the Country's glory. It's about we want Ghana to be better.
Whether or not the Fix the Country group has been successful with its aim, its leaders, supporters and even rivals agree on one thing: that the struggle continues, even if under a new banner name. Manuel Cranting, Joy News, Accra.
Well, there's more on this. Political scientist at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, says the group must improve its organization and reposition its focus if it wants to regain its relevance.
Their best. They've been able to bring their grievances out. And some of the things they said are the realities of the ground. There's no doubt about that. All right? All these type of movements, yes, this is what they do. But the problem is how they will be able to sustain the efforts. And that's the difficulty they face today. Some of it is born out of the fact that some of the demands, you find it difficult to sustain that on the street. You recall that they said that among the things that they were looking forward to government fixing include changing the constitution, changing the political system, and the whole lot. The political system is a big concept. All right, so if you are looking for that, you are going to have a difficulty. In addition to this, they also talk about what? They want development and all that. Development is not a one-day thing. It takes a long while. So if you want that. So I was advising those days when we were talking about the issue that it should take the form of an anomic pressure group. This is a pressure group that are born out of circumstances. So you take something little, you drum home, and then you gain support, you move on to another thing. Yes. So that should have been the strategy. But they knew they had their game plan and they did their best. We need such groups who will use legitimate means to bring to attention concerns of people to the doorstep of what holders of political power. There's absolutely no wrong about that. But all these things, you do it within the framework of the law. They've done their bit, but there are lots that they need to do if they want to sustain themselves.
They blame government attack on some of their leading members for what is now the inactivity of the group or its activeness at the front line. Would you say that is legitimate or it's only perceived? They have to define to us what the government attack is. I don't know, so I cannot speak to that issue. Well, they cite the prosecution of Oliver Barker-Vormawor as one of them. That issue, I'll not go into it, but if the leader is not part of the group, obviously it's the going concern, so the group must survive with other members of the group holding the fort, all right? But it all boils down to one of the things is that you need to have what? Every organization, you need somebody who, that person will organize the system for you. The person will be able to what? Stand in when there is somebody who's a key person who's absent and all that. These type of arrangement ought to be made so that they can sustain themselves.
Would you say the group has been successful, given what it set out to achieve? And key amongst them was the fact that they say people could not even express themselves. Today, they are saying they are unable to be as active as they want to be because government is clamping down on the activities and hounding some of their people. Would you say that they have been successful in that regard?
If you look at what they've done, you have pluses and then you have minuses. The pluses is that there are some genuine issues they brought to the fore, i.e. unemployment, i.e. issue of development, and a host of them. They were the realities of the ground, and they were able to bring it to the attention of everybody. And for me, that's a plus.
Now, the OT Regional Health Director, the Dr. Sogah for Afre, says he's worried about the low doctor-to-patient ratio in the region. According to Dr. Afre, out of the over 20 medical doctors posted to the region within the last couple of years, only 2 have reported. The region will also lose 4 of its medical doctors in the month of September to further studies. Peterson reports from the region and gives more details.
This is the second consecutive year the OT Regional Health Director, Dr. Sogah Afre, has bemoaned the insufficient number of doctors in the region. According to him, the dwindling numbers and the unwillingness of medical doctors and other health workers to accept posting to the region is a worrying situation. He says by September 2022, the doctor-patient ratio would increase from 1 to 24,000 to 1 to 29,000.
The OT region is vastly deprived, and that is one of the disincentives of attracting and retaining staff here. We've gotten cumulatively about 22, 23 doctors being posted to us since 2020, but unfortunately, only one person reported. I think 2. Yeah, only 2 people reported, and it's a source of worry to us, a huge source of worry. So our doctor population ratio, we used to be about 1:21,000, increased to 1:24,000, and now we are doing around 1:29,000. And I'm very sad to inform you that this year, one school reopening somewhere September, October, we will lose about 4 of our doctors in a region to further studies.
The Regional Health Directorate has also declared zero maternal mortality rate for 2022 and beyond. So far for year 2022, it is the only region with zero maternal mortality rates across the country.
Pregnancy is not a disease, and we don't expect a woman who is also giving life to also lose her life. So I picked it personally with my team, and we put in measures to make sure that we bring it to the barest minimum. So we have been working with a policy of zero tolerance for maternal mortality. So consistently, we have reduced from 98 per 100,000 live births, and last year we did 53, and now we are doing 0. So I think so far in the whole country, we are the only region that has not reported any maternal death.
However, the stillbirth rate across the region is on the increase, with Krachi West and Nkwanta North leading.
Our stillbirth rate has increased marginally from 12% to 13.1%. And we've been able to zero in on where the stillbirths are coming from. Majority of the stillbirths are coming from Nkwanta North, which is a source of worry to us. They increased their stillbirth from 3.8 to about 17 or 18, which is an astronomical increase.
On COVID-19 vaccination, the region has so far been able to vaccinate only 29% of its population of 762,940 residents, according to the 2021 National Population and Housing Census figures.
We've been able to do 29% of people who are fully vaccinated in the region in terms of the populations that we've been given, and this figure is not too good. Actually, we started from about 15% for the past 2 months or 3 months, and we've been able to make some improvement, but still the improvement is not as good as it is.
Until leadership on all fronts work to make the region attractive, residents are very likely not to get the best of quality health delivery in the region. Peter Sanu for JoyNews.
Let's take you to the Bono East region. The regional health director there has reiterated its commitment towards achieving its target of fully vaccinating 70% of the region's population. Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng, at a half-year meeting to review the performance of the region, disclosed that with the region's case fatality far above the national average, a higher vaccination coverage is the surest way to saving the people against the COVID-19 pandemic. And as habit, has more.
Speaking at a mid-year meeting to review the performance of the region for the first half of the year and deliberate on how to improve the region's general healthcare delivery, the Bono East Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng, said the region is working towards achieving its COVID-19 vaccination target of 85% single dose and 70% fully vaccinated as a means of curbing the spread of the pandemic across the region.
Currently, with 835,086 eligible population for the vaccines, 433,781, that is 51, almost 52%, have been vaccinated with a dose. And 326,032, that is 39%, are fully vaccinated. Mr. Chair, the question that we have been asking ourselves, how do we reach the target of 85% single dose for Bono East? And how do we also achieve 70% fully vaccinated? Because you can see from all the figures that we are discussing that the game changer over here is the vaccination exercise, among other things. And therefore, looking at the nature of Bono East, there is nothing that we can do in a quest to overcome this COVID without actually increasing the uptake.
Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng is optimistic that with the numerous challenges facing the region in terms of logistics and resources, a wider COVID vaccination coverage will help protect the region's workforce.
You know the challenges that we are having as a newly created region. We are less endowed in terms of equity, infrastructure, human resources. We are lacking. Even within Bono East, we are having that challenge. So the low-hanging fruits that we can really address is the having higher coverage for the COVID-19 vaccines. If we are able to do that, then it means that should we have any wave or surge, then we are well protected.
Chairman of the occasion and director of the Kintampo Health Research Center, Dr. Kwaku Puku Asante, on his part expressed concern with the increase in the number of hypertensive cases in the region and people's reluctance to visit the hospitals for care.
At the research center, Kintampo Health Research Center of the Ghana Health Service, we have identified that within the community there are about 25% of people with hypertension. That is, every 1 out of 4 adults would have hypertension. But unfortunately, we are not seeing them in the hospitals. And this is because hypertension is a silent killer. Diabetes is a silent killer. If we do not screen early enough to identify them when they have not developed complications, they will now end up in the hospitals with complications. And some of them would die. I mean, hypertension, you can just die off like that with a stroke or a heart attack. Once we do that, we'll be making a huge impact on non-communicable diseases, specifically hypertension and diabetes.
The 2022 mid-year review, according to Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng, is geared towards improving quality healthcare delivery rather than the number of visitations to the various health centers in the area. Anna Sabit, JoyNews, Kintampo.
And now to security. 725 newly recruited police personnel have been graduated from the Police Public Safety Training School at Pologo in the Upper East region. The recruits have also been taken through training in some other areas. There's more in this report.
725 newly recruited police officers were made up of 397 males and 327 females. They constitute the first batch of trainees in 2022 who have successfully completed the basic police training program from the Police Public Safety Training School here in Pualugu. At the graduation parade, the recruits performed drills in various formations to the admiration of the guests.
Now the parade is advancing into a review order.
They also performed additional drills in motorcycle riding.
And not just riding, combat riding to ensure wherever the
driving, as well as crowd control and incident and disaster management. According to the Director General for the National Protection Directorate of the Ghana Police Service, COP Francis Ebenezer Doku, who was the review officer for the passing out parade, the additional training in motorcycle riding, driving, swimming, crowd control, incident and disaster management, among others, were introduced as a paradigm shift in the training of police recruits.
Emphasis was mainly on enhancement of recruit knowledge on the laws they are expected to enforce when they pass out. But now, equal emphasis is placed on field training activities such as horse riding, crime scene management, traffic management, radio communication, intelligence gathering, community-based patrols, charge office management, access control, arrest and search procedures, use of force procedures, human rights, client care and professional police ethics, tactical progression, weapon handling and high-risk operation.
And back here in Accra, from today to Sunday, you need to be at the West Hills Mall because the second clinic of EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair is underway. For more on this, let's go live to Maxwell Akbar on the ground, giving us the latest as to what's happening at the second clinic. Maxwell, take us away. Well, it appears that we're having some challenges connecting to Maxwell, but we'll definitely do that and get some more updates from Maxwell, who will definitely be giving us all the sights and scenes and also the exciting packages being given by some of the businesses there. But first of all, for those of you who are wondering what's been going on, here's just a bit of a teaser as to what to expect.
I've been to quite a number of kitchens, and usually when you enter any kitchen, what you see is the microwave, you'd see the fridge, you'd see the plates and other things scattered, strewn all across the kitchen. What I find particularly intriguing about a Superlock Technologies Limited designed kitchen is the fridge. Microwave also is not openly displayed here in the kitchen. All the things that I've seen here, you'd have to open something before you get access to the appliance. And what it means is that you didn't have your cooking utensils, you didn't have your kitchen appliances and all of that strewn across, the kitchen. That I find particularly interesting. Abby has been telling us more about that.
Have the built-in microwave.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
We have a built-in microwave here.
So
it's optional. You can also have it, but you don't need to have a built-in.
Okay.
It's very optional. Basically, what we do is we design to suit your taste.
Okay.
You tell us exactly what you want, and then we go ahead and do, exactly what you want for you. Tell us the type of color, the type of design, the type of finishing, the type of. We also recommend that you give us the type of appliances that you're going to use, so that if we have to leave a space for it, we'll go on ahead and leave the space for it and all that. So basically, you have to come to the kitchen and see what we have, and then you tell us okay, I want my kitchen to be this, I want it this way, I want it that way. Then after everything, we do a 3D design for you to see the...
So you do custom made for the client?
Custom made, yes.
Okay.
Right here, we have the built-in fridge.
That's the...
Double built-in fridge, yeah. So this is a double built-in fridge.
So that is done here?
Yes, we bring everything from outside.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So when we customize it, we give you the 3D design and everything. If you approve it, then we can order.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We order it from outside.
What advice would you give people, homeowners, someone moving to a new home, how to keep the kitchen? Like, what would you advise them? Like, what are some of the things that they can do to keep their kitchen beautiful, clean?
Well,
like,
basically with this, you just have to keep it clean because we have a lot of storage units that you can, order for your kitchen where you can put away a lot of things so that it doesn't, display all over the place.
All over the place,
yes. You just have to keep it clean because with the MDF doors, like I said, these are MDF doors, which is water resistant and,
Oh,
yes.
water resistant.
Water
That's very
resistant.
important because in the kitchen, you deal with a lot of water.
A lot of water.
Now we're going to check out some of the security doors and internal doors that you have here, right?
Yes.
And to help us do that, we have Nathan. Nathan, what's your last name?
Well, Maxwell is live at the West Hills Malls, has some updates for us. There, Maxwell, what more can you report?
To you live from the West Hills Mall, where the second clinic of the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair is taking place. The main event is going to take place from the 24th to the 28th of August at Accra International Conference Center. But for now, the forecourt of the West Hills Mall has been transformed into a one-stop shop for everything housing. We've had a lot of patrons, coming through here. Earlier in the afternoon when we were here, we had some patrons, taking break from work to actually come and see what is on offer here. Now that they've closed, many of them are coming here to interact with the exhibitors. We interact with them after the move from this forecourt, and they tell us that they are excited about some of the amazing offers that these exhibitors are given there. That is possible because of the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair. Let's interact with some of the exhibitors. Let's find out from them what it has been like, so far and how it is going. Sir, welcome to JoyNews.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Your name, sir?
Augustus Santobam.
Okay. This is Duraplast.
Yes, this is Duraplast. Where Duraplast goes,
water flows, definitely. So we're going to have some water flow here, right?
Exactly.
so tell us, how is it going so far?
Yeah, it has been good.
Yeah.
We know by tomorrow it will be excellent. Because today is the first day, people are not in the knowing that much.
Yeah.
And then we know when we come to West Hills Mall, things always get better.
Okay, great. So what do you have on offer here at Duraplast?
We have garbage chute, like those who are building towers. You can't be at the top and then drop your debris. It will make dust onto people. Okay. So we have a garbage chute that directs all garbages and debris into a receptacle so you keep the environment clean. We also have water tank, and our water tank is the most safest and exact in water storage. If you have 1,000 liters of water brought to you, you have 1,000 liters in your tank. We also have DST tanks for sewage tanks. We have a CD wash for COVID, we call it CD wash, but it's a COVID wash station, like washing of your hands. We have bullets, we have M-Box. M-Box, it's for those who work in the catering industry, those who work in engineering. You store your tools, you store your utensils and other things. It's also meant for those who go to school, your chop box and your trunk.
Oh, so I can use this as a chop box?
Yeah, you use the small one as the chop box, and then use the big one or the medium one as the trunk.
This is a 21st century chop box.
Yes, sir. It's airtight and waterproof. Water does not enter. Ants and other insects cannot enter because it has a plastic seal at the covering.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If you should come to the Westlands Mall, we'll give you 10% discount. So you should come. Everybody should come to Duraplast. Where Duraplast goes,
water flows.
Water flows.
That's it. Where Duraplast goes, water flows. Where Duraplast goes, discount is flowing, right? So that's it. A lot of the exhibitors here are giving amazing discounts, and that is one of the attractions here for the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair. Many of them I've been speaking to will tell you that they are doing this because it's the Habitat Fair, but for the Habitat Fair, there'll be no discounts. So just take advantage of this and come here to the West Hills Mall. So now we're here at
Virtual Security Africa, complete security solutions for all.
What's your name?
Edna Kenny.
So what are we seeing here? These are CCTV?
Yes, please. CCTV cameras, video, audio, intercom, access control, clocking systems for work, like attendance, to check attendance, and access control. We have the fire alarm systems too here. So these are the cameras. These are what you see here. Bullets for outdoor, and these are for the indoor. And this is a GSM intruder alarm system. It works with sensors.
Works with sensors?
So these are the sensors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does it work?
So you arm your windows and your space. So we place these advantage places where you want to secure. So when anybody intrudes, it goes off and the person will run away, or it will call your phone. When you're not home, it sends a signal to your phone. Yes, you can register as many, over 100 numbers on your phone to call. So maybe if you have the police in your area, when you are traveled, your family members, your friends, so that when there's anything, it will signal them directly so that they can come in.
True that.
Yes.
So where's the best place to fix this?
This, your hallway.
Hallway?
Yes, and we have the door and the window. We have the door and the window contact. So your main door and your window where you think people can intrude without your knowledge. So you arm all those places. You can set time to it that at 9 p.m. in the evening, it should arm itself. And at 5 a.m. it should go. So you may forget. So the alarm itself will arm itself by 9 p.m. so that if there's any intruder, it will go off and wall the person off, or you catch the person. And the CCTV is also there to capture all activities in and around your home. Yes, please.
That's interesting, especially for people, for some intruders who are able to cut through burglar proof. If you fix this, they can't.
It senses motion. So whether you squat, the moment it senses motion, the alarm will just go off and you'll be caught. Yes. And we have the alarm, the fire systems too here. It detects smoke, fire and heat to a certain degree. When the heat is above a certain degree, detects it and it arms and it goes off for you to know that there's fire coming or that heat is too much for you to.
Are you giving any discounts here?
Huge, heavily, yes.
I like that.
Yes.
I love this.
Any customer who walks in or any client who walks in here, you can enjoy as low as, let me put it that way, 10%. So that's the lowest. So just imagine the discounts we have for all our potential clients walking in. So please, we are encouraging each and every one to come by and just let's talk. We are offering free consultations here as well. Yes, because there are some people they don't know what to do and all that. So when you come and we ask you certain questions, depending on which area you are, if you're in a gated community, fine, the cameras will work for you. It means your perimeter is secure. If your perimeter is not secure, we also have other plans for you. So we are here for each and everyone. For as low as 3,000 Ghana cedis, you can fully secure your home. So we are encouraging each and everyone to pass by and let's talk security.
You talked about consultation. Just some tips before we go. Let's say I'm moving to a new home. What are some of the things that I should consider in terms of security?
You check your area. As I'm saying, people move to new homes, but it's a gated community. So you know that you have a security post already. But in a secluded area where there are no, so you want to make sure your perimeter is secure. So you go for the electric fencing to secure your walls, firstly. Then you can take in the CCTV, then the alarm system. We mostly encourage each and every person to get the alarm systems because for the CCTV camera, it's more like post security. after the event, you now go back and play. But this
will prevent
it's a deterrent. Yes, so this is what mostly we encourage each and every person to get. So that's how it works. Yes.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you too.
So we just heard from a rep from Virtual Security Africa, telling us what they have on offer here. And as you heard her say, they have amazing offers, and she says as low as 10%. You want to think about as high as you have to come here to the West Hills Mall, to get that details. So that's what's happening here at the West Hills Mall. More people, are coming in to get free consultation, free advice, get in touch with the movers and shakers when it comes to the construction and the building, industry.
Maxwell Akpokpa there with the latest, and it's about to get really exciting. You need to be there at the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair. So here's what we also need to tell you. Ghanaian businesses and industries can actually grow bigger and better when the media leads the campaign to grow, consume, and experience what is our own. That's according to the group director of the communications Melcom group of companies. That's Godwin Venogbo. He was speaking as part of the Melcom Group's effort to support the Center for Communication and Culture in promoting ethical and developmental journalism.
As a very good corporate citizen, Melcom Care, on behalf of the Melcom Group of companies, believes strongly that business and industry can grow bigger and better when the media leads the campaign to grow, consume, and experience what is Ghana and our own. The Ghanaian media has the men and women to do this. You have the capacity and capability to lead the national interest by becoming the reliable voice of the voiceless in an all-inclusive approach to courageous and well-defined and well-informed journalism, which takes the side of truth by holding the first, second, and third arms of the governance machinery accountable to the people for the benefit of the people and the national interest. Investment levels increase when there is peace and freedom of expression. And it takes bold journalists to lead the pack and be counted just as the select 13 veterans who have been nominated for special mention by the Center for Communication and Culture. When that objective is attained, the benefit to the larger society can be seen in increased employment by investors like the Melcom Group of companies and others, with the resultant economic benefits for all Ghanaians, like improved wages and better conditions of service. Until then, the struggle continues. So media must lead, media must guide, media must mold, media must influence positively without fear or favor.
And that's all we have for you in this package of the polls. I am Blessed Sogah. Log on to myjoyonline.com for updates on all of our stories. We'll see you same time next week.